Hello and welcome to another episode of Diary of a Coin Dealer. We're on episode 5. That has gone super quick. I'm not entirely sure where that time has gone. Um, yeah, this week's been a really productive week, to be honest. It's been going well in some regards. It's been going slow in other regards. I think I'll start it by there's a few things. Let's talk about the meeting with the accountant. So I said last week, I dropped it in that I was thinking of setting up either a separate limited company concerning the stamps and or potentially rolling the stamps into the BTM business, but I wasn't sure where I stood on it. So when I spoke to the accountant, there was a checklist of things I wanted to talk about, pretty much everything I wanted to do. She was like, "Yeah, fine." I I'm in a position where I can put the stamps on the business. As it's currently structured my end, I've got a sole trader business and I've got BTM coins and media. And I've been paying myself 12 plus YouTube income. Finally reached $1,000, by the way. Took 4 years. Finally got there. Woo! But I've been paying myself essentially 12 and a half as a sole trader and then topping up with dividends from the business as it was the most effective way to do it. Now, whilst it's been effective, it's also hindered me in how I trade because the stamps were very stop start. I'd have to buy and then I'd have to tally the numbers and then I'd sell. And what was happening was I was getting lots of assets, I was getting lots of stock. But I said to the accountant, I was like, I'm going to be realistic. I'm at the point where I can't keep adding stock. One, because dealers are getting raided left, right, and center. Obviously, security is an issue. I use a system of multiple areas to store my stock, paid storage and short storage. It's not a problem, but it's not enough hours in a day to kind of run this system the way I run. And I don't, I know I don't want to progress into having a shop or having staff. It's not for me, not in this business anyway. Say I was running a pub, not a problem. Someone helps himself to a beer, it's fine. Someone helps themselves to a 1 ounce gold coin, it's a different ball game, especially when you're making maybe 2-3% on it. So yeah, I was posed with that dilemma, but the accountant said, "Yeah, you can run that through the business." And I said, "Well, I've got 4 years cover in terms of the sole trader stock. Can I just sell that stock to the business at a fair rate?" And she was like, "Yeah, that's not a problem." I was like, "HMRC is not going to have a go at me." And she's like, "Well, they're tax exempt items, so there's no issue concerning you're dodging VAT." I was like, "Great." Question number 2. I said to her, I know I want to get out, but I don't want to kind of wind the business down because there's value in the name. In terms of numbers, I've said it before, I don't have the exact numbers, but I'm probably going to do 600 turnover in terms of the limited company plus the turnover in terms of the sole trader. I think there's value in the business in terms of having it as a shell for when I do get out of the game, but I need to build the assets up to wind them down. So I said, well, what if I flip it on its head? I've spoken in the past about property. I'll put property on the back burner for the time being. I think there's going to be a lot of people shaking out of their houses, rightly or wrongly. I I think people won't be able to afford the sustained rises in costs. People are getting hit left, right, and centre. So I want to wait to see where the dust settles on that. But I said to her, what if I kind of build it up and then say invest? I'll get to a point where I have maybe 100,000 in investments. I'm nowhere near there yet. Like, I don't even have that in stock on the business, but I will get to a point within the time frame if I carry on trading with trading stamps as well. Could I just kind of leave it there to tick over? So the dividends, obviously, they get taxed. It's corporation tax. I'll then have to pay the accountant for having it dormant, and then I've got a loan on the business, which I took out just to give me some firepower. I also bought some equipment, etc., for the business. And she was like, "Yeah, you you can do that. That's not a problem." So what's going to happen with the stamps now? And the stamps is a game changer for the business, really, because what's going to happen is there's more margin in it. So my free cash flow is going to get bigger. I know this because at the moment I'm making a side income for essentially sorting out stamps, but I'm limited in how I trade, so there's only so much I can do. It's going to take those shackles off to allow me to kind of push it as far as I can take it. And where the margins are high, you like to think that I should earn more for doing less. In theory, it may not work that way. Anyone who's seen my channel knows that the wheels are likely to fall off. It happens a lot. But what I can do is I can get the numismatic style pieces in, and every year I can start dripping money into the stock market. So say property prices do crash, or I take a break, which I think I need. I've given myself 2.5 years pretty much. I'm going to get to a point where I've got a small war chest that yields a small amount, and it will cover my bills. But say I want to pick the coins up, I've got that money there, and there's not going to be any debt to the business. It's just going to be free cash flow pretty much. So yeah, that was the meeting with the accountant. I think it's been really exciting to kind of know that, because the first time in a while I thought I can have a crack at this, and I'm not gonna be half killing myself to kind of reach those higher levels, because the margin on the stamps is sometimes 10x the margin on the bullion. There will be competing forces, obviously. It does depend on how much I can source. It does depend on, well, a lot of things really. It's, say for example, I source it really cheap and I'm battling it out with another seller. The margins are going to diminish, but they're still going to be higher than the coins. And then you've got the added aspect of the first and second going up each year. So I can always kind of run it as a reserve instead of keeping my reserve in gold. They're both very liquid items. It's not hard to sell savings. Now, does that mean I'm going to turn this channel into a stamp channel? No, not a chance. I have no interest in doing that personally. I don't think it serves a purpose to do that. This is a coin channel. I love my gold, my silver, platinum. I love talking about the economy, etc. Stamps is just something that will allow me to kind of boost the business and get it to where it should be, which means you guys should see higher quality coins as a benefactor of trading the stamps. Yeah, in terms of actually trading since the first, it's been a mixed bag. It's very slow at the moment. I've been talking to a few people who trade. It's slow across the board, both in terms of stock has been in shorter supply and people just don't want to pay for it. I think everything's going to haggle at the moment. I've done about £100 a day on average, which, it's okay. That's okay. Not every day you're going to have a £200-300 profit coin. It's not going to work that way, and those coins are hard to find. It's not as simple. Like I said last week, you just pick the phone up and it just turns up next day. It doesn't work that way. So I'm happy with that. And also, one of the reasons I worked so hard last month was because I have a rolling average. So anything I got over the curve last month, I can use as a deduction. So I've got to take a certain amount out of the business by the 30th of March. And if I need to sell for token losses, I'm now in a position where I can. This month isn't entirely about profit. It's nice to move forward, but at the same time, moving forward isn't always quantifiable in profit. Sometimes you have to take a side step to move forward in other areas. So I need to take the money out to pay myself, and then I'm going to put the money back in and use it as a director loan. And then that way I can really squeeze the lemon, so to speak. I think I'm going to call it there. I think it's been a productive week. I hope everyone's had a good week. I'm starting to really get my teeth into this series. I think it's good for me because it allows me to kind of look back and see my progress, and it's good for you guys because you get to see the in and outs of what a coin dealer does, which I think there's value in that. there's a lot of insight from people who do this for a living. So all the best. Bye.